G'day everyone, Bailey Ladders Run Home Time. James Pavey from Supercars.com here with Mark Winterbottom, 2015 Supercars champion. Frosty, mate, that was one hell of a Melbourne Super Sprint. Where do we start? I mean, that was so action-packed. What's your quick takeaway from the weekend?
Brody Kostecki, unbelievable. I think I called it actually on our last chat. I said it was between Kostecki and Feeney, so I'll rest on my little pick there and my laurels. But carnage, like Grand Prix, historically, Thursday, they all just drive through nice and calm. Friday, they get a little bit more angry. Saturday, they get more angry. And Sunday, they went berserk. So a lot of carnage, but standout, Brody Kostecki. Oh, my goodness, he was so fast.
Well, let's go straight to Brody while he's on our minds. He'll be our guy who stepped up thanks to Bailey Ladders. I mean, 3 wins out of 4, championship lead, Larry Perkins trophy. I mean, you said you called this, Frosty, but that sort of speed is really impressive. It's a bit of an ominous warning for the rest of the field because from my count, the last time he won the Larry Perkins trophy in 2023, he took the championship lead and save for a few races in the middle of the year, he wasn't troubled, he won the championship. So would you be surprised if come November, he's P1 again?
Not surprised. He looks good. He drove very well on the weekend. You can't explain how hard the Grand Prix is. People take it for granted a little bit how difficult because you qualify twice on Thursday and that obviously sets up your first 2 races. You've got to come back Saturday when everyone's developed, the track grip's changed, conditions have changed, and he went out and nailed it again. But he was very fast in some spots of the track that allowed him to race very well too. So he had the whole package. So very hard to do. Didn't mess up a start. Didn't get caused in any involved in any carnage. Put the car in the right place. Was aggressive when he needed to. Ran down people. Like unbelievable weekend. I haven't seen dominance like that for a long time. So come December or November, he's going to be there in some shape or form. But we saw last year how finals play out. It's not about accumulating points now. It's about delivering on that day. But on his day, he beats anyone, and unbelievable performance by Brody.
The statement from where I sat was how good the car performance was. He said it after Sunday, the car was on rails, especially into turn 11 when he was pulling off those big overtakes. I mean, that shows a driver full of confidence in his car, doesn't it?
He was very good round 8. That was where he really had his speed through the fast right-hander. And then through 9, he could stay very narrow, sometimes on the dirt, staying quite narrow through 9, but he's braking into 10 and then the momentum into 11. That whole complex, he was very fast. So that middle sector, for some reason, he was delivering. And even speaking of Roland Gray, his teammate, Brody goes through footage with him after sessions and really tries to help Roland get up to speed. And Roland goes, far out. That second sector, I don't know how he's doing it, but he's unbelievable. So, yeah, you got to be fast in the right spots, and Brody definitely through that middle sector and then braking into 11, he controlled the race, and that it's very hard to do, and no one else could replicate it. So, yeah, very dominant in that part of the track.
So Brody was fast in a lot of the right spots, but for a lot of other drivers over the weekend, Frosty, it seemed like they got themselves into a lot of the wrong spots. Driving standards was a massive hot topic. I mean, you raced around AGP for a long time. Your thoughts on the weekend, the action, the incidents, the carnage and the penalties?
Well, because there's no pit stops, everyone's desperate to make up positions in the first, or often the first corner, So off the line, it's a big drag race to 1, it's a staggered start. And if you can make 3 spots on the start, you're never going to get that over the whole race. So there's desperation and there's aggressiveness. But when you launch at the Grand Prix, there's 2 ways you can go. You have momentum, you go outside or you go inside. And we saw people going on the outside into 1, getting turned, and the consequence after. So, yeah, I love the Grand Prix from that point of view. Some of the penalties, I don't know if they deserved. I know there's accumulation progress. So that's what created, I think, 30-second penalty for was it Golding or Ryan Wood there for 1 point. So I don't know if that contributed to that, because it's a flow-on effect with points. They got the penalty. So I like the racing. I think that turn 11, sometimes 3 into 1 obviously doesn't go, but some of them I thought were borderline, but they're trying to control the racing as well, and I understand why they give the penalties. But when you're 3 wide, the guy on the outside can defend, and often they hung out there and then got crashed into. So Cooper Murray, we saw he was a victim at 11 quite a few times, but yeah, I'm on the fence with the penalties. I thought the racing, it needs to get the elbows out. They need to be aggressive, but they can't be on the side of silly. So yeah, a few that I thought were either way, but the penalties obviously matched the crime and they got what they got.
Yeah, well, the one that stood out to me initially was Ryan Wood on Thomas Randall. That was 30 seconds. It ended Thomas's race. Your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, that's just misjudged a little bit. And when you're going through 5, you're on the aero limit, so the slightest bump can send you in the fence. And yeah, that one was an obvious penalty, but Ryan owned it. So what do? You move on, but the consequence is big for Thomas, because when you hit there, I've hit that wall before, it hurts. Like when you hit sideways into there, the wheels come off the ground, it does quite a bit of damage. So that's just misjudgment by millimeters, and that was a consequence. So that penalty was fair. Yeah, and Ryan, like I said, Ryan owned it, which went up to Thomas and apologised, and they moved on. And then Randall went out the next day and got a podium. So he finished on a good result.
And there are a few post-race penalties after that Saturday race. One of them was for James Golding with that clash with Matt Payne. An interesting one coming out of turn 2 when cars are going up towards turn 3, going through the gears. Golding was adjudged to have just misjudged that too and closed on Payne, and it caused a DNF. Was 30 seconds fair enough for that too?
I didn't agree with that one. That's the one I didn't agree with, to be honest, because at the start, when you go too wide, it's very hard to hang on the outside there. There's marbles, and the more cars that run the outside line there at turn 2 exit gets slipperier and slipperier. So he wouldn't have seen him. That's not intentional. And when you're trying to run out, the slightest contact put him in the fence. So I don't think that penalty matched that one, but that's just my opinion, and I don't sit in that hot seat and I don't make those decisions. But it did take Matt out of the race, and we saw quite a consequence. But I think if you said to Matt, hey, in hindsight, what would you do different? He might just feather the throttle there and try and just sit on the back tail, not side by side. So unfortunate, wasn't deliberate by any means, and 30 seconds is a big penalty. And I think, for Golding, the weekend just kept flowing. It was just, for him and Aaron Cameron actually at Blanchard's, it was just missed opportunities. So kind of felt for Golding in that one. But again, car hits the fence, there's got to be a penalty of some sort, and that's what he got.
Before we move on to the obvious incident of the weekend, what's your comment regarding Blanchard Racing Team? So much speed, but so much missed opportunity. How do they galvanise, come together and head to New Zealand and think, well, hey, we've got to get results? Because a comment that you made in our last podcast, Frosty, was that if you look back on Sydney and you didn't get that result you wanted, you might be a bit egregious, a bit painful to that. Your thoughts for BRT, because they'd be pretty sore right now, I'd imagine.
They were really fast. Like, again, backed it up. It was really important they went to the Grand Prix and backed it up to make sure it wasn't just a flash in the pan in Sydney. So, but for Aaron Cameron, I think he's just got to finish. Like, there's a point where you go, hey, a podium might not be on the cards today. A top 5 finish, get some points, get the pressure off, and just kind of, I don't know, get some points and get some points in the bag would have been really big for him. So, but he's a racer and he's fast, but they've got to get that mindset of it's only one opportunity like they've had in the past, because they're showing week in, week out they're going to be there. So just start getting some runs on the board. It's really important for them. So a good test for them going to Taupo, because I think last year they were half a second off last position. Effectively, they were very slow there. So they'll go there now. They'll be up the front. They get another opportunity. And every time they race at the front, they'll realise this isn't the one they have to get. So, Golding, I think he's a little bit more experienced in championship racing, but they just need to finish. First of all, finish and develop the cars, because when you're repairing them as well, they're not getting built to go faster. You're practically just getting them ready to race again. So for that team, the next step, consistency, finish races, maximise their position, a few top 10s, a few top 5s, and the wins will come. So just, I don't know, sit on your hands a little bit. It's hard to say to racers, but just control the narrative and sit on your hands and just get some points.
Well, the narrative that came out of the weekend was the one on everyone's lips. Turn 1, lap 1, race 7. Brock Feeney spinning in front of the field. Cooper Murray, Zach Bates, nowhere to go. It was a monstrous incident. No penalty for that. Racing incident deemed, Frosty. I mean, your initial thoughts on that incident, and then we'll go into detail about what happened later. But yeah, that was a really hairy and quite a scary moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is. And hindsight is a big thing, you know. I think if you're Brock, you don't stay on the throttle for so long. He stayed on the throttle for a long time when he was flick spinning it, but when you panic and you know there's cars all around you, like you're just trying to get out of the situation and you're going to get hit regardless. So, yeah, I think in hindsight he wouldn't have done that, but a big consequence. That was a big hit for Brock. It ripped the rear upright out of the car. Like that's a huge, huge hit. So I'll be surprised if that car is fixable very quickly. But yeah, took him out of the race, took a couple of cars out of the race, and like I said, when you're spinning and you're going at turn 1, everyone sees it in slow motion, but when you're in the car behind the wheel, it's happening so fast and you can hear cars, you can feel them. You're just trying to scramble to get out the way. So, yeah, hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it, in motorsport? But, you know, he paid the price. He ended up with a car that was not going anywhere and lost quite a few points. So the other two are just bystanders. When cars are going, you're picking left, you're picking right, and it just keeps spinning. They're just innocent bystanders in that situation. Do they get a penalty? He doesn't deserve a penalty for that. That's just a racing incident, unfortunately. There's no intention or intent to hit another car. So racing incident, it's not a good feeling. It's not a good one, but you just got to cop it on the chin.
Is the other side of it, Frosty. I mean, these races, they're essentially half points races. So the risk is always higher than the reward. If you're a Triple Eight or an Erebus or an MSR and you're trying to get these cars ready for New Zealand in a couple of days' time, you'd be pretty frustrated with the drivers. But is there a bit of remorse as well? Because you've got to remember that these guys have just been in a big accident. I mean, Brock especially, that car was torn apart. But there are a few different angles to this, and yeah, damaged cars is never good. Your thoughts on that?
You go to the Grand Prix to race. Like, I think the format is what it is. The schedule for the championship is what it is. You have to go there and race. Like, you have to be clever, but that turn 1, you can make spots, and often being conservative is what creates the chaos. So if I was a team owner and I had drivers racing for me, I'd be like, just get in there to turn 1, do what you do best, and if something happens, it happens. So it is what it is. I think the Grand Prix is a massive event. People, I guess, because they only race and they're a support category, feel like the atmosphere or something isn't there for supercars. But I can tell you, it's massive, and everyone's watching. All your corporate sponsors are there. So people who may not come to a supercars race, they're there at that event watching you. So there's so much pressure on teams and drivers to deliver commercially, and just, I guess, as races, you always want to win, don't you, on the big stage? So you cannot tell them to just drive around and look after the equipment. It just doesn't happen. That's not racing. So is what it is. You crash, you fix it. They always fix it. It's always a battle against time to get the cars ready, but they always fix them. They'll go again in a couple of weeks' time, and I don't know, there's war stories, isn't there? That's the good thing about racing. They carry on to the next round. If you get fixed up by someone, expect return serve. So yeah, mechanical sympathy isn't what you do. If you're racing cars, you don't have mechanical sympathy.
My last comment about the Turn 1 incident, Frosty. Brock Feeney, does he spin? Does he stay? A lot of criticism has been lobbied towards Brock. What's your response to that? Because while, yes, there was an accident and he had a decision to make, I kind of feel like there's been a lot of criticism to a driver that also had a bit of accident. So your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't know, like I said, hindsight. You put yourself in the driver's seat. It's so easy when you watch it on TV. I'll be honest, I've raced there for 20 years, and now I watch it on TV. It all happens in slow motion. But when you're racing there and you're going into one, and there's 4 cars, and you're looking left, you're looking right, you get a hit in the back, the car goes sideways, you scramble, you just panic, and you try and get out of there as quick as you can. So he actually almost did an amazing spin. He got the car to flick spin and had momentum, but it just kept going around. If he had just feathered off the throttle and got on, he actually would have driven away and only lost 3 positions. So it was almost heroic what he did, but the fact it kept spinning, it was unlucky. But I think there's always criticism, but there's also the responsibility of the cars coming past him to try and work out where he's going to go. But he stayed in the throttle for a long time. He did stay in the throttle too long. I'm sure if you asked him, he'd agree with it. But like I said, it's a pressure moment. You're trying to get out of there. If he had not got hit, he would have only lost 2 positions and moved on. So there's pros and cons with every incident, isn't there? But the end result wasn't good. That was a massive hit for him. He had the biggest hit out of everyone, and he paid the price. He didn't get away with it trouble-free. He copped the biggest hit out of every car. So I think it is what it is. It's a racing incident. I don't think you can blame him, but 3 cars come out of the race because of it, and I guess they see him as the fault, but you can't blame him.
So let's talk about Brock Feeney's team, Red Bull Ampol Racing, 888. You're up against them for 15, 20 years. Bit of a needle between that team and what we now know as Walkinshaw TWG Racing. I mean, Frosty, we love when there's tension and rivalry and conflict between these teams, but it even flowed into podcasts as well. And then at the track, on track, there's a lot going on between those 2 teams. I mean, this is a great rivalry that's been brewing since before what happened in Adelaide last year, but I know you're pretty keen to talk about this because there's a lot going on between these teams. What have you seen in the paddock and what do you think is going to unfold from here?
Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. It's obviously started last year, then went into the finals with Ryan Wood and Brock having contact. Chaz goes on and wins a championship, so big tick, Walkinshaw, he wins that battle. But then it flows on, doesn't it? It goes into this year, and Brock and Woody have got their rivalry going on. But now the podcast, Win Cup's come out, and he's been quite vocal. I actually like seeing this side of Jamie because I guess I saw the battle and the villain in him when I raced, but he's very calculated and very clever in what he's saying. And then Ryan Walkinshaw's got so much passion for his team and what he does. So together, that's bubbling in the background, which is really cool. And Woody and Feeney, I'm sure it's going to come to heads at some stage this year. But what I do love is Win Cup has got Feeney's back, Brown's back, supports him massively, and he wears his heart on his sleeve and he represents his team well. And then Walkinshaw, he has 100% got Woody's back and also Chaz, and he's a fighter and ready for a scrap. So I reckon get your popcorn. I'm looking forward to it. They're 2 top teams with 4 of the best drivers in the category, and at the moment, Triple Eight's winning the battle this year. But wait till finals when there's 4 guys again, and it's going to explode. I love it. I think it's great for the sport.
Well, seeing Ryan Wood get that podium in Melbourne was a bit of a sign that, hey, Walkinshaw is actually making serious ground. And I wrote yesterday that Mostert had a bit of a veiled compliment to make to his team, which was, I'm actually really happy with my race car after 2 rounds, which is a bit of a warning to the rest of the field because if the Toyota's there after round 2, what's it going to be like after round 5? What's it going to be like after Bathurst? Best case scenario, both of those Walkinshaw cars make the finals. You're absolutely right. If both of those cars are in the finals and Triple Eight are there as well, there's going to be fireworks, Frosty, at the end of this year. It's going to flow on massively, isn't it?
It's going to flow on massively, and the Toyota did really well. I think the Grand Prix is a very fast, open track. So the biggest change for Walkinshaw this year is aero package and engine mapping. Like they're the 2 things that have changed. The chassis, the dampers, the roll bars, a lot of that stuff stayed the same. So if they can get the car working well at a very full, high open throttle track and a very high speed track with high aero, that's a big tick for them. So a 3rd for Woody. I think even on Saturday, he got held up in qualifying. He was going to go top 5 again. So he might have got another crack at a podium in Saturday's race if that qualifying session went better. And Chaz, he was fast, but his race pace and tyre life wasn't where it needed to be. But in qualifying, he kept popping up and, showing some really good sectors. So they're not far away. I said at Sydney when I saw them running around, I'm like, they're not far away. You can see they're only looking for a little bit here and there. And when they find it, it'll be very quick. It'll come soon. So every round they're going to get better and better. And if the finals showed anything last year, you need to be good with 3 or 4 rounds to go. So I'm sure Chaz at round 1 was not miserable, but you could see the frustration. But after round 2, I reckon he's licking his lips and going, "Hey, bring on finals again because they'll be good. End of year, they'll come good."
Well, let's wrap this up, Frosty. The run home, presented by Bailey Ladders. It's been a huge opening 2 rounds, but Taupo is a completely different track to what we've seen in Sydney and definitely what we saw in Melbourne. High speed to low speed. Who do you think is going to be able to carry over some form into New Zealand, because we've got 2 race weekends in a row? It's a massive opportunity to really make a statement in this championship.
Yeah, Taupo is so low grip. Like the track surface is really low. So if I was looking at a form guide, I'd go to Sydney Motorsport Park. I'd look at turn 6 sector, and whoever was fast in that sector is going to be good at Taupo. I know it's throwing darts in a very small little target, but that's what I'd be choosing. So Sydney, I think again Brodie was very fast, but it didn't fall into place. Brock Feeney's going to be very fast. The Blanchard cars, again, they're going to be fast because that middle sector from Golding in Sydney and even Aaron Cameron, but Golding in particular was so fast and dominant. So low grip track, get the tyres working. They're the guys that are going to deliver. So look at that second sector. Anyone who's at home and they like their data, look at turn 6. And whoever's fast there, I'd be pretty confident they'll be good at Taupo.
Well, Supercars is so back, Frosty. I don't think you can argue against that. Even journos are copping hits. I've copped a few hits in podcasts and things online as well. Brodie had a bit of a swipe at me yesterday, which is awesome. Bring it on, I reckon, because this is going to be such an exciting season. And if everyone's feeling the tension and the angst and the frustration, that means the racing is going to be absolutely phenomenal. New Zealand, we can't wait. 2 rounds in a row there. The ITM New Zealand doubleheader starts in Taupo from April 10 to 12. Frosty, it's going to be huge. Thanks for your time, mate. Talk next time.